What's up guys, DIY Salvage Guy here, and welcome back to the channel. And on this channel, we just learn as we go. Whether this is your first video or whether you guys have been here from the very beginning, I want to thank you guys for being here. Now, on this channel, I've rebuilt this entire Audi A7. It was crashed, destroyed, but I want to take a step back from the actual rebuild process, and I want to give you guys some information on what it's like to actually buy the vehicle. What goes into it. I want to show you guys my tips, tricks, and all the stuff that I learned through this process, from the decision that I was looking at the original car originally on Copart, all the way down to when I placed that final bid, what my price point was, and all that stuff. I'm going to go through all that information. I want to share that with you guys so that you guys can try to pick this up as well and try to get into this and just buy a car and rebuild it. But also I want to make sure that you guys are safe with this. That way you don't get into a vehicle that you're going to be over your head with. So I'm going to share all that stuff with you guys right now. So I hope you guys will like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. I need your support, I need your information and your feedback so that I know how to improve on all my videos and my concepts and all my takes and stuff like that. So make sure you guys have your post notifications on as well. And make sure you guys are following me over on Instagram. That way you guys stay up to date on the build and everything else that goes on this channel. Okay, so I want to give you a quick rundown about how I go about buying a vehicle from Copart. So let's take a random vehicle right now. So I just happened to find a truck. I'm in the market for a truck right now, so I figured why not look at this. So this one's sold. So what I'm looking at here is, what I want to do is basically just get an idea of everything that it's going to cost me in order to buy, fix, and take everything into account for this vehicle. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at these pictures. So this is my first initial step in order to buying a vehicle from Copart. So I'm looking at these pictures. I'm looking at the primary damage as to what totaled out the vehicle. So here I see that the hood is bent in a little bit. Then you have the bumper, fender itself. Fender is obviously seen better days, so it looks like they maybe hit something and it basically just slid along the slot side of it, and you got some issues there. So you have a headlight that looks pretty mangled as well, so that needs to be replaced. And then it looks like this bumper itself, looks like the bumper, it's all metal, can probably be repaired and just hammered out. So we're not going to look at that too much. So now, one thing that's always very important is to always check the wheels. So you see that the wheel is turned here. So you want to make sure that the other wheel is actually turned as well. So you got this wheel turned that way, then you're looking at the other wheel. So you see that this wheel is also turned. So that means that there shouldn't be a steering issue or anything. So you want to make sure that you are looking at those minor details. Make sure that everything kind of works the way that it should. So you look at this side, there's really no other issues or anything like that. It looks like you have a brand new headlight in here. Looks like those probably replaced recently. Headlights are very easy to tell if someone takes care of a car. It's just a nice, easy thing, very cheap to replace on these older models. So the person who had this vehicle previously probably really cared about it. Looks like there's brand new tires on there, so that looks good as well. And the rest of this looks to be pretty good. I don't see any body rust or anything like that. Maybe back there a little bit in the above the wheel well, but nothing too bad. Now these pictures aren't the greatest because the sun is kind of just hitting it the way that it is. But so you can see that there's a little bit of rust right in here. But truck rust isn't too bad. It's pretty easy to deal with. And the rest of these pictures look to be pretty decent. So I don't see any issues with this vehicle that would definitely prevent me from going basically to the next step in order to try to figure out if it's worth it or not. So one thing I do want to point out here now is that this wheel is actually straight. Now I must remind you guys that we just saw this wheel is completely turned. This wheel is straight. So there, it could be turned to the point where it's straight up, but it looks like there might be an actual steering issue with this. So use all your research and all your tools at your disposal right now in order to look at it. So we're going to continue to just look at these pictures real quick. You got the interior. Interior looks to be in pretty good shape. It's your full front end picture. Copart usually shows a picture of the engine. This one doesn't have it, maybe because the truck's so big, or maybe it just doesn't work. I don't know. But so 144,000 miles, that's important to note. So we do have a flat tire. Now the flat tire could be because it got blown out, or the tire itself just lost the seal from the accident itself. So it's another important thing that we want to make sure that we take into account. So now that we looked at all the components of the auction itself, the last thing we're going to do over here is kind of just see what it tells us. So it tells me that it's a run drive. Copart basically lists these vehicles as the engine started when you got it, and it also moves forward and backwards a little bit. Now they make no claims to these vehicles still being in the condition when the auction is done, but important. You know that it is a certificate of title salvage, so you know that it has a salvage as well. It does not list whether it's an insurance company or anything like that. We'll get to that in a minute. We know that's four-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive as well, and it also comes with the keys. Now there's nothing else on this that would tell us anything else. So next thing I'm going to do, my next step is I'm going to come to this website right here. I'll post a link right down below. It's vehiclehistory.com. I'm not affiliated with these guys at all. All I do is I love them very much. They show a great amount of information on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to type in the VIN number of the vehicle that I'm looking for, research it, and what this website does is it actually pops up any sale records recently or not recently for the vehicle. So right now what I see is it's a 2002 Ford F-250 Super Duty, and it's a vehicle history report. So I don't want to spend money on Carfax because I'm doing a lot of research on these vehicles, and this one might be good, this one might not be good. So I want to use as many free resources as possible before I get to that point. So now I know that what this is telling me is that this car was sold pretty recently. So these photos are from 2018 for a for sale listing. So this car was sold about 2 years ago, and it looks to be in phenomenal shape. So quickly, I'm just going to run through the photos. Now the photos aren't always the best quality, they're pulled off the internet, but it looks like it's in pretty good shape. So there's no previous issues over here. You get to see the vehicle in its prior glory before the accident itself, and it tells you a lot about the vehicle. So this tells me that it's definitely the car. This is different tires than are on there right now. So it tells me that there are new tires on there. Car looks great, it really does. It looks really nice. So you get a good sense of the way the vehicle is actually sitting. So like I said, these are different tires. No damage here. You could tell that they wound up replacing that headlight with new ones, so that's always good to know. It means that the owner that took it after this, or that purchased it from these guys, really took care of the vehicle, took care of it enough to actually replace those headlights. So you know that the steering wheel here pointed straight while the wheels were straight over there as well. So that's something to just take note of compared to the other pictures that we saw. Vehicle looks to be in phenomenal shape, super clean, super nice, got the mats, airbags, owner's manual, all that stuff. Not that we think that it's going to be included in the auction, but it's something to keep in mind. You got the truck bed liner, so you have a shot of the engine. Remember, we missed the engine shot in the auction itself, so this shows us that as well. You get your VIN number, you can match those up, and when the vehicle was listed, it had 109,000 miles. So right now it has 144,000, so they put about 36,000 miles on the vehicle in about 2 years. That's a lot of driving, but looks like it's still in pretty good shape. So now we have a good amount of data from that. Then what this also does is it shows a little bit more information, and so it tells me that it's listed at auction, and the sale date is 10/6, so this one passed recently, auction in progress. And they were selling this vehicle for about $12,000 as of March 21st, 2018. Then you have the full listing from the dealer on here as well. So it shows you everything that they had. So all the stuff that you can't see in the auction photos, you might have additional questions. This shows you all that stuff. So I'm not going to run through this, but it just gives you an idea of what this vehicle has. Then you have your standard specifications, stuff like that. But this is the bread and butter of this website. This shows you a lot of information. So, all right, I'm good with this, right? So I'm ready to proceed to my next step right now. So what I want to do is I want to go to autoauctions.io. And again, guys, I'm not affiliated with any of these guys. These are just good sources. I learned this stuff from Sam Crack. Shout out to him if he ever wants to collab, let me know, Sam Crack. Big fan of yours. But anyway, guys, so we have Ford F-250 Super Duty. You come into here. This is a paid website, so you do have to spend a little money on this now. Now, this part could be used last, but I'll let you guys choose your kind of methodology of where you want to go. So it shows you your estimated repair cost. I don't know how accurate this is. They are estimating it at about $9,500. Estimated retail value, they're estimating at about $7,000, and the damage ratio is $134,000. There's no previous sales or anything like that for auctions, and everything else kind of matches up. So, and I also see here that it's from an insurance company, so that's an extremely important thing to note, that it's from an insurance company and not a third-party seller. So now you have all the same pictures on here that we did on the Copart website. So this showed me everything that it needed to show me, so I'm going to move on. Now, if there was previous sales here, so say they were trying to sell it, or if it's a third-party seller or something, a third-party seller might buy it from the insurance company, basically just doctor it up a little bit, throw a hood on there or something like that, and make it look a little better, and then they'll try to resell it. But you'll be able to see that there's a sale history here as well. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to Kelley Blue Book and see what the value of it is. So, I mean, realistically, you could do this step first, but what I want to do is come in here and type in all the features. I did that already, and it's telling me that excellent condition, it's going between $5,000 and $9,000. So about what they're telling me. So about $7,000, and it has a salvage history to it, so you could probably reduce that a little bit. Websites and the internet says about 60%. I don't think so, guys. A vehicle being repaired is still a vehicle being repaired. I wouldn't worry too much about that salvage inspection because the people do usually do a good job. So lastly, what I need to do is go back to the website here and just kind of price out all of the things that I'm going to need. So I know I'm going to assume I'm going to need one tire, right? There might be a spare on there, maybe not. But what I'm definitely going to need is I need a fender. Let's get back to this picture. So I need a fender. I think this hood could be saved, and I definitely need a headlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my favorite website for all this stuff. I'm going to car-part.com, and again, not affiliated, just love these guys. And I'm just going to bring up a fender here, and you have some options of what you want to do. And just going to search. So I need the right hand side. So if you are basically sitting in your vehicle, you got your left hand side is your driver's side and your right hand side is your passenger side. So that's what I need. I need my right hand side. And so I'm looking at, depending on how much damage or things that I'm looking at. So I'm looking at basically between $75 to $150 for a new fender. Now the condition might change depending on the way that it looks. So this one looks like there's some faded paint on it. I have a blue truck in this situation, so I'm going to try to find something blue, that way I don't have to repaint. But you guys get the general idea for that. So about $75, you want to keep track of everything that you are going to be doing for a cost calculator for it. So what you're going to do is, basically what I do is I come in here and I have a calculator for all this stuff and what you can buy it for. So I have all these things kind of calculated out, KBB value, basically just keep all this information, notes, side impacts, stuff like that. And so basically I'm going to price this out. So I'm going to go on the high end of all this stuff. So let's just say I need a fender. I'm going to say $150, then a headlight assembly. So let's look at the headlights real quick. Now these headlights may or may not be the best thing to get on this website. These are used. A lot of times you can go on like eBay and get some good things as well. So Car Dash Parts really good, eBay's really good, Facebook Marketplace, those are all really good websites. So they may or may not be the best thing to use right now, but we'll just look up the Headlight Assembly just to get a general idea. So this is not a sealed beam, it's a composite. We need a right hand. And so we're looking here. We need the whole thing. There's a turn signal on the bottom as well. But we're looking, you know, these ones $30, $35, $50. Let's say we want to replace both of them. Maybe you upgrade them a little bit. I just go on the high end here, guys. So I'm looking at, we'll just say $150 for a whole headlight assembly, right? So the bumper I don't think I'm gonna need because I said that I can repair that. So let's say that we need 2 new tires because you always want to replace 4-wheel drive tires in at least pairs. 4-wheel drive, you should really do all of them, but I'm gonna say on the low end, we're gonna say 2 tires that we gotta replace, and I'm going to say that that is $444. You can check out Tire Rack, any of those tire websites, stuff like that. So then you have your battery. I always replace the batteries on these vehicles. You wanna make sure that you are getting a fresh start with that. You don't know how old it is, what the status of it is. So now I'm going to get into another aspect a little bit further on because I did do a little bit extra research after this. So the steering looked like it was going to be a problem to me. So I just priced that stuff out anyway. So, all right, how much can I get a steering gearbox for? Priced it out, can get it at AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, stuff like that. For about $117. Then you got to get the pitman arm for $40, tie rod connection, and then I always like to say a car that old, you know, you're replacing the battery, you might as well replace the starter as well. It's super cheap. So I'm looking at, if I was to buy this vehicle, I'm looking at a grand total in order to fix it. Worst case scenario, I'm thinking of about $1,100, $1,200. So I take all that into account. So then I have shipping, whatever I'm going to use for shipping, the auction fees, what I would buy it for in that category, taxes, stuff like that. I come back at a max buy price of right around here, and I'm saying that the total cost all in is going to cost about $4,900, right around there, and that gives a bit of leeway in order to make a profit on it if you really wanted to. So that's more or less what I go about doing in order to come up with my research methodology. And I recommend you guys see the vehicles in person. I know you're looking at Copart, sorry, and you can't always go see it, especially with COVID these days. It's really hard to see these vehicles. You can use inspectors. I've had bad experiences with them in the past, and I lost out on an auction because the guy said he was going to see it, and it just didn't work out for me. So these are methodologies that I use that work for me. And it's not perfect, but let me know what you guys use. Let me know how you guys go about this stuff. One other additional thing that you can do is just simply taking the VIN number and just typing it into Google. Just seeing if anything comes up. Come over to the images, see what you're looking at here. Now make sure that the vehicle that you're looking at is actually the one that you have. Now this matches up. You want to match up the VIN numbers, make sure that the wheels are the same. You're gonna get a lot of different vehicles, but you definitely want to make sure that this is not the vehicle in question. Obviously you can tell that it's not because it's a single cab, the other one's a super cab, but this is poor vehicle. But you guys can see a lot just from simply doing a quick Google search. That's what I do, guys. Let me know what you guys do. Let me know if this works for you or if there's anything else that you guys would change on this aspect. So basically we're just going through the website itself, Copart. We're going to vehicle history, we're hitting that up. Then we're going to auto auctions, or we're going to, you know, price all the parts out and stuff like that. We're hitting up KBB. Basically we're doing all this stuff together and just making sure that we are on the same page so that we can do everything. Also, make sure you guys kind of put a buffer in there to make sure that anything that you can't see in the pictures, you do not want to go underwater in these vehicles. Used car values are coming up due to COVID right now, but you want to make sure that you are allowing yourself for enough of a buffer so that you guys can do what you need to do. And if something else is wrong with the vehicle that you did not account for, you still have a little bit of wiggle room in there. So hope this helps you out, guys. And I hope you guys get inspired to kind of just try to do something like this yourself. That's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you stuck with me through the whole thing. And I wanted to really show you guys less hands-on of what you guys have to do with rebuilding the vehicle and what it's like to actually go from start to finish and all that stuff in order to make sure that you guys get the sound vehicles. You avoid all those scams and everything that are on Copart, because there are a lot of them. A lot of people trying to just get over on you. And I want to make sure that you guys understand the research and everything that goes into this as well. So I hope you guys like, subscribe, throw me some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this stuff. Is there anything else that you guys want to see? Any other tips, tricks? Let me know, because I just started with this. These are things that I just learned and things that worked for me. So if you guys have been doing this for a while, let me know what works for you. What do you guys do in order to make sure that your vehicle that you're buying is something that is actually on the up and up? Make sure that it is actually not a lemon that you guys are going to just be basically throwing a lot of money into. So share your tips with me and also the rest of the viewers here, guys. Hope that this will help inspire you guys to just pick up a wrench, buy a car, do whatever you have to do. Just try to become a DIY salvage guy yourself.